शलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Manah Shiksha. Yesterday we discussed text 3 of Manah Shiksha. Yadichera vrajabhuvi saragam pratijano yuadvandam tachet paricharitam aradavilashe swarupam shri rupam sagana tasya iha tasyagrajamapi sputam premna nityam smara nama tadatvam shunu mano. So in text 3, Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, if you have a desire to reside in Vraj and have spontaneous love, birth after birth, towards Radha and Krishna, if you have this desire, then worship, nama, remember, offer obeisances, my dear mind, to whom? Swarupam, Shri Rupam, and his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, with love. So the 6 Goswamis shower the nectar of literature of spontaneous devotion to the eternal youthful couple in Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya Ras. And especially, Mahaprabhu has come to give us this highest Ujjvala Ras, Madhurya Ras. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary is very interesting. He says that, is it possible to attain Ragatmika Bhakti, spontaneous love, by taking Diksha and Shiksha in other Vaishnava schools? So in that context, he mentions that Shuddha Bhakti is in 3 states: Sadhana, Bhava, and Prema. And we mentioned yesterday, there is first Ashuddha Sadhana Bhakti, that is level 0. From there, we have to come to Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti, then Shuddha Bhava Bhakti, and Shuddha Prema Bhakti. So the 9 stages of devotion yesterday we discussed, beginning from Ado, Shraddha. Shraddha is here when we take up to Shuddha Bhakti. Till then it is Mishra Bhakti. Ado stage is Mishra Bhakti. And there is Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Priya, Anartha Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and Prem. And then This sadhana bhakti has two divisions, Vaidhi and Raganuga. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur defines Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and then he goes on to define Raganuga bhakti. So Raganuga bhakti is following the Ragatmika bhaktas, and that's why he defines what is Ragatmika bhakti. And this Raganuga bhakti or Ragatmika bhakti is of two types, Kamarupa and Sambandharupa. The conjugal rasa, Madhurya rasa is Kamarupa, and the other three are Sambandharupa. And then what are the qualifications to practice Raganuga bhakti? It's greed, and there is, it defies logic, and there is attraction to, the pastimes, and that's how, one starts practicing Raganuga bhakti. And what are the practices of Raganuga bhakti? There is constant remembrance of Krishna and his associates based on your particular mood, and hearing of those pastimes, and residing in Braj. And in a spiritual body, the body which is contemplated in the meditation, we follow the Ragatmika Bhaktas. In the Siddha Rupa, in the Sadhaka Rupa, we follow the six Goswamis. And all the angas of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti are applicable to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And then this prema has, different gradations. There is Mana, Pranaya, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, and Mahabhava. So all that Mahaprabhu Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. And then he concludes, no, it is exclusively possible to get this highest Brajaras, Bhakti Ras, in Mahaprabhu's moment. If it is available in other sampradayas, it is only to a very small degree. And that's why to attain this mood of the Vrajvasis, one should accept Swarup Damodar, Sanatana Goswami, and Rupa Goswami, who are recipients of Mahaprabhu's blessing. Prati Janu means life after life. But if we get the mercy of the Goswamis, then it can also quickly happen. And then the same instruction in the form of a song, the Shiksha, Manah Shiksha Bhasha, yesterday we saw. So today we will start with the commentary of Shivram Swami Maharaj, which is very, very brief. Okay, let's see what Maharaj has to say. This process of worship taught in verse 1 is Ratim Apurvam Atitaram, or unprecedented great love. The unique nature of this love is that it is practiced by the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the Ragatmika Bhaktas. It is practiced by the Ragatmika Bhaktas. It's not practiced in any other place, not in Vaikuntha, nor in any other quarter of Golok, such as Dwarka and Mathura. Now, please remember that Golok has three divisions. One is, Vrindavan, another is Mathura and Dwarka. And in these three divisions, it is only in Vrindavan that this Vraj Bhakti is practiced, this Ragatmika Bhakti. Whereas in Dwarka and Mathura, although there are all these rasas, but it is mixed with Aishwarya. It is mixed with our awe and reverence, because they know that Krishna is Supreme Lord. So there is no pure spontaneity rag, devoid of the conception that, Krishna is God. Mother Yashoda doesn't consider Krishna as God, but her own child. The friends of Krishna don't consider him as God, but they are friends. And the gopis don't consider him as God, but they are lovers. So this kind of pure rag is only there in Vaikuntha. Only the inhabitants of Vraj have this extraordinary type of devotional service. They are also called Ragatmika Bhaktas. And their bhakti is Ragatmika Bhakti. They are called as Ragatmika Bhaktas. Okay. Next paragraph. So, verse 3 dealt with a question which was implied in verse 1. of whether someone taking Diksha and Shiksha outside of Gaudiya Sampradaya can actually achieve Rati or Ragatmika Bhakti. In order to answer that question, the definition of Ragatmika Bhakti must be understood. It is specifically achieved by Raganuga Bhakti or Raganuga Sadhana, which is one of the two processes of Sadhana Bhakti. So we saw Sadhana Bhakti has two divisions, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana. So if we are in the Sampradaya, the Gaudiya Sampradaya, and we don't take up to Raganuga Sadhana, then we cannot achieve, Vraj Bhakti. If we still stick on to the Vaidhi, we have to take up to the Raganuga Sadhana by practice of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So we will come to this more in detail when we study Bhakti-Vidyan Goswami's commentary. Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti are the divisions or elements of Sadhana Bhakti. This I just now mentioned, this paragraph 3. The general method by which practitioners in Krishna consciousness achieve the perfectional platform is to practice Vaidhi Sadhana, Vaidhi Bhakti, under the direction of elevated Vaishnavas. One will then enter the platform of Rag, spontaneous devotional service, that is Raganuga Sadhana, by which one is then able to approach or enter into the realm of Ragatmika. So this process, although very rare and difficult to achieve, is very easily attained by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swarupam Shri Rupam Saganam Iha Tasyagrajam Api. By the mercy of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Saganam, by all their associates. Mahaprabhu's recipients were the Goswamis, and by following the Goswamis, we can receive this. So that's it about Shivram Swami Maharaj commentary. Any questions or clarifications anyone has up till now, what we have discussed? About Shivram Swami Maharaj commentary. Yes, Ras Parani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat. So when Sri Ram Swami Maharaj is saying that the general method by which the practitioners in Krishna consciousness, so that is more of Vaidhi Bhakti, as said. So and then from there we will achieve Raganuk Bhakti. But then on a generic basis, if you see it, how will we understand? Because we for us it is we are in awe, like we are, for us to achieve Raganuk Bhakti, or how can one differentiate? Because even when we are in Krishna consciousness, there is fear that we should not commit any aparadh. There is awe. There is, so that Raganuk Sadhana. How does one differentiate? How does one come to know?
Okay, first of all, before understanding Raganuga Sadhana or Raganuga Bhakti, we have to understand what is Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti, again, we have to understand what is Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. So yesterday we were discussing that Sadhana Bhakti definition is given by Rupa Goswami. Kriti Sadhyat Bhave Sadhya Sa Sadhana Vidha Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasya Prakatyam Riddhi Sadhyata. Kriti Sadhya means engaging the senses, action senses. Kriti Sadhyat Bhave Sadhya, to attain a goal. And what is that goal? Sadhya Bhava, to attain Bhava Bhakti. So practicing Sadhana Bhakti to attain Bhava Bhakti. Sa Sadhana Vida. So that is called as Sadhana Bhakti. So if you see this definition of Sadhana Bhakti is by which we attain Bhava Bhakti. So this definition fits in the Uttama Bhakti definition. Anya Abhilashita Shunya. That means we practice Sadhana Bhakti with no other desire And this desire to attain bhava is not an unfavorable desire, but it is a favorable desire. It's a pure desire. It is not a material desire. So this kind of a desire to practice sadhana bhakti to attain bhava bhakti falls in the Uttama definition of Anya Abhilashita Shunya. So for us, I feel most important is, firstly, we should study Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and understand the definition of what is Uttama Bhakti, what is Sadhana Bhakti definition, what is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and what are the limbs of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And now, since we are practicing Ashuddha Sadhana Bhakti or Mishra Bhakti, we should come to the point of where we take up to practice of Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. And within Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti, there is Vaidhi and Raganuga. And once we come to that point, then the process is very quick. And you need not, go and verify it from outside that whether you're qualified to practice Ragana. When I have attained Adhikar to practice Raganuga Sadhana, it is naturally manifested in the heart. Pratyaksha avagamyam dharmam. You can directly experience that when you come to the point where you develop such intense greed to attain the mood of the Vrajvasis by hearing Krishna Katha, and impelled by that you are pushed. And like this being pushed, you don't, think about anything else. So even if you that time violate some of the rules and regulations of the Shastra, Langna, what we say, you violate them, still there is no harm because you are now impelled by greed. Just like Mahaprabhu was to at the Garuda take the darshan of Jagannath, and one lady, in her intensity of Utkanta, Samutkanta of having darshan of Jagannath, she was so eager that she did not know that it is Mahaprabhu standing, and she climbed on Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu's servant Govinda, Mahaprabhu was so extreme with respect to Mataji's that even his eternal associates like Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur were all married. Even they would not come near Mahaprabhu to offer their obeisances. They used to offer the obeisances in far. But this lady climbed on Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu, when Govinda was trying to restrain, Mahaprabhu said, no, let her climb. So she climbed on Mahaprabhu. So there, there is no question that there is intense love in the heart, and the symptoms of a Sthita Pragya are there. So everything can be understood by symptoms. There is natural, spontaneous love for the Lord, natural, spontaneous to do chanting, to hear Krishna Katha, to do the angas of devotion. It is there now also, even in our Mishra state. We have certain kind of rag, attraction. We have attraction to the deities. We have attraction to Krishna Katha. We have attraction to a particular sannyasi from whom we are hearing and whom we are aspiring. We have attraction to devotees. We have attraction to the dham. There is an element of raga, but we cannot say that we are practicing Raganuga sadhana. Raganuga sadhana is quite different. So this again quite elaborately we'll discuss when we touch upon Bhakti Vigyan Goswami's commentary. But I think for now it is suffice and it is clear for you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so now we will begin Bhakti Vigyan Goswami's commentary. It is a very exhaustive commentary and a very, very interesting commentary. And we will carefully go through this commentary and try to understand it. So paragraph 1 and 2, Manah Shiksha instructions are to develop attachment. The instructions of Manah Shiksha are meant to develop attachment. We have to come to the point of Maya Sakta Manapartha. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 7.1 says, the goal is that the mind should be attached to Krishna. If your mind is attached to Krishna, then you have achieved perfection. So that is what Raghunath Das Goswami is hinting in his Manashiksha instructions. So this theme is in paragraphs 1 and 2. So let us hear what Maharaj has to say. The Manashiksha is a methodology by which a person can overcome their internal obstacles and gradually develop love for Krishna. So it's a methodology to, become free from the internal obstacles, especially pride, which is an internal obstacle to develop attachment to Guru, Goshte, Goshtaleshu. This is our goal, and Raghunath Das Goswami has written these verses for us. These prayers are addressed to his mind, but actually they are more relevant to our minds than to his. If we follow these recommendations step by step and try to apply them in our lives, success is guaranteed. Please mark this. Try to follow the instructions of Raghunath Das Goswami step by step. First, try to understand the instructions and then slowly try to apply them. And we start applying them, success is guaranteed. We may think that there are more important things to think about, like our marriages. At the end of the day, however, the most important thing will be the extent to which we have managed to develop attachment for Krishna, Maya Sakta Manah. At the end of our lives, everything else will be unimportant and devoid of meaning. And what will stay with us is our attachment to Krishna. We will see how everything slips through our fingers. Our health, happiness, wealth, beloved ones, relatives, and friends. They will all be gone. But this wealth of attachment to Krishna will remain with us. So this we should deeply contemplate. That we can see in our family, our parents or grandparents have all gone, and all the relationships have cut, all our attachments. Sometimes when they leave, they cut the attachment with us. And we still now also remember them sometimes, and we have still attachment. But when we leave our body, our attachment with them also is cut. So only remains is our attachment to Krishna. So important it is that we develop this attachment to Krishna. No matter what position we are in now, it is important to know how to develop this attachment to Krishna. How to develop this attachment to Krishna. So this is the paragraph in paragraphs 1 and 2 theme. How Manashiksha teaches us to develop attachment to Krishna. Otherwise, when faced with the last test, we may prove bankrupt when we no longer have anything material, and neither do we have any spiritual wealth. Now, the next theme, Maharaj explains two desires and their answer in details. There are two desires which Raghunath Das Goswami is speaking in Manashiksha third verse. The two desires, what are those two desires? And what is the answer in detail? Maharaj is going to explain. Now, I want to ask devotees, what are the two desires which Raghunath Das Goswami is stating in his Manashiksha verse? Of course, I am showing you the verse. You can have a look at the verse and then try to answer. What are the two desires Raghunath Das Goswami is speaking? Anyone? What are the two desires we should have? Who will answer this? What are the two desires? One hand has been raised. Okay, Mataji.
Prabhuji, to reside in the land of Vraja and to serve the youthful couple of Shri Shri Radha Krishna.
How do we serve? In what mood?
Actually, that should be Ragatmika, but then
Yes, in rag, in spontaneous.
Yeah.
So this is what, one desire or two desires?
It is, it can be both actually.
Okay, then what is the second
Because,
desire? What is the second desire?
and the second desire is to worship and offer obeisances to the Goswamis, Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, and their associates.
Yes, yes. So yadicher avasam Brajabhu. Avas means if you have a desire to reside in Braj and spontaneously, birth after birth, worship, then you should offer obeisances to or nama to all this. Yes, correct. Okay, so Maharaj is going to speak about it. So how we should also aspire and have these desires. A very, very interesting discussion. Please stay attentive to this. Raghunath Das Goswami specifically says here that if you have two desires, to live with love in Braj life after life, and directly serve the eternal youthful couple. So these are the two desires. To avasam saragam pratijanu and yuvadvandam tacheta arad abilashe. You have a desire to serve the youthful couple. Then you should Swarupam Shri Rupam Saganam Ihat Tasyagrajam Api Sputam Premna Nityam Smara Nama Tada Tvam Shunu Mana. Then you should do this. Then Tada, you should remember Smara Smutam Premna Nityam. With love, you should remember. Nityam means incessantly at all time. Premna means with love. Sputam means very clearly. Very clearly, you should understand that with love, you should always remember these Goswamis. So please understand very carefully that if you have a desire to live in Vrindavan in pure spontaneous love, birth after birth, and serve the youthful temple, then you should what? Sputam Premna Nityam. To whom? Nama to the Goswamis. He says that if you have these two desires, you have to constantly, with love and very clearly remember Swarupam, Shri Rupam, Saganam, Iha Tasyagrajam, Api. We need to remember Swarup Damodar Goswami and Shri Rupa Goswami. Ganam Iha, Saganam, and all their associates, all their followers. Tasyagrajam, the elder brother of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. It is them that we should always think of with love. So, how these two desires can be fulfilled? By thinking always clearly with love, Swarupam, Shri Rupam, Saganam, Tasya Grajam. Just imagine what a simple solution Raghunath Das Goswami has given. That if you want to reside in Braj, in pure spontaneous love, birth after birth, and serve the eternal divine couple, then just do this one thing. I hope it is clear. Now, again, Maharaj goes into the Purva Paksha. He puts some doubt. Several important questions arise, which we will try to answer. First, why does Raghunath Das Goswami says Pratijanu for many, many lifetimes, birth after birth? Why does he say that in this verse? Yadicher avasam Vrajabhuvi saragam pratijanu. He says pratijanu, birth after birth, life after life. Why does he say that? Okay, this answer is there. The first thing we have been promised is that this will be our last life. And now it turns out that we have to live for many lifetimes in Vraj. But the first word of this verse is if you want to. Raghunath Das Goswami says the goal is bhakti, which does not require liberation from birth. For bhakti, there is no need for liberation. Those who are practicing the path of Gyan, their desire is liberation. But those who are practicing bhakti, we are practicing bhakti to attain bhakti, not to attain mukti. Real devotees do not think that they deserve to be born anywhere in particular. Such devotees say they are ready to be born here again and again, that they have no merits to be in the spiritual world. If we have rag, attachment to the Lord, then life in Vrindavan, even here on earth, is amazingly beautiful. So Maharaj explains, and which verse in the Shikshashtakam explains this more? Which verse of the Shikshashtakam explains this more? Which Raghunath Das Goswami is saying here. Which verse of Shikshashtakam explains this more? Okay. I want to ask other devotees. Tirthpad Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Dandapam Prabhu.
Which verse of the Shikshashtakam explains this more, that, I only want bhakti and not liberation. I'm ready to take birth again and again in this material world.
7th verse, Prabhu.
7th verse, no. Gautam Prabhuji, let us see whether you are active.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Okay.
Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim.
Yes, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadish kamare, mama janmani janmanishware, Avatar bhakti rahe ahetuki. I need only ahetuki bhakti or Shuddha bhakti. Now, very interesting. Maharaj is explaining this from the example of Bhakti Tirth Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, despite severe pain, shows us a great example of the beautiful picture of life in Vrindavan. One of his last pastimes is perhaps the most amazing one. Just before his departure from his body, he was in terrible pain. The pain was so agonizing that no drugs could suppress it. Sometimes he would place in a bathtub to relax, but the pain would be burning his entire body from within. During such one attack, Radhanath Maharaj was next to him. As Bhakti Tirth Maharaj was withering in pain, tears streaming from his eyes, Radhanath Maharaj began telling him about Vrindavan, where everyone loves Krishna and where Krishna loves everyone, and where there is nothing but love. This went on for a long time, with Radhanath Maharaj whispering in his ear and Bhakti Tirth Maharaj listening. Suddenly he smiled and said, I have never felt so good in my life. So, here I would like to just, for devotees, put a reflection. At the time of death, we are going to go through terrible, terrible pain of the body. So sometimes as sadhakas, while practicing spiritual life, when we get sick, when we have trouble with the body, we should try to face it and not immediately take some relief in the form of pills in order to, become free from the body ache, or we should naturally try to heal it, because natural healing takes 2-3 days. And we are not able to tolerate the pain, and we want some relief, and we want to take some pills and get immediate relief. But it is always better that you tolerate it for 2-3 days and continue with your practices. You can see whether you can practice steadily here with all these little troubles which come, because ultimately at the time of death, the whole body mechanism is going to fail, the mind is going to fail, the entire gross and subtle bodies are going to start uprooting, start And that time, to remember Krishna, if the soul has not practiced it, even when there are little troubles, then how we will practice when there are so many troubles, when we undergo, the body is in trouble at the time of death. So we should learn this art to practice a little by little. And that kind of practice, what we do now, will help us at the time of death. Otherwise, it's not so easy. So this is one of the meditations which I recommend. Of course, you have to see what is practical at a given time, place, and circumstances, and do it necessary. But we should see that we should artificially not do things just to avoid the pain, so that we can just pass that, try to escape that troubles. So the more the troubles come in our life, the more it is our test that how during those troubles we are still able to practice Krishna consciousness, because that will ultimately prepare us at the time of death. But Bhakti Tirth Maharaj example is very, very extreme, and it is very exemplary. Okay, Raghunath Das Goswami is drawing this picture because he is ready to take birth and to die, to be sick and to suffer here on earth as long as it is in Vrindavan. In this way, he glorifies Vrindavan and Prema itself, which makes a person willing to take birth again and again, because the happiness of Prema is so intense that it overshadows any material pain. So intense was the happiness what Maharaj was experiencing, that he was able to transcend, the duality. Titikshva, tam titikshva bharata, Krishna is also saying. So intense you're experiencing ecstasy in your chanting that you don't, desire anything in this material world. And Krishna also exemplifies this in Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, yogi who has realized Sukam Atyantikam Yattad Buddhi Grahayam Atyandriyam Vetti Yatra Nachayavayam Taschalati Tatvata. Actually, one who has attained self-realization, Pashyan Atmani Tushyati. Tushyati means he is satisfied, he is self-realized now. He is able to see the soul. And Sukam, he is experiencing happiness, which is Buddhi Grahayam Atyandriyam, that is transcendental happiness. And such a person, Yam labva chaparam labam, having attained this higher, manyate na adhikam tatva, there is nothing higher. Yasmin sito na dukkena, even the greatest misery, gurunapi na vichal, heaviest of the heaviest miseries, he is not disturbed. And Prabhupada says that gurunapi na vichalete, I think he is not, any misery, he is not become shaken. And death, Prabhupada mentions as death, as death, he is not even, situated, he is never shaken in the midst of greatest difficulty, that can refer to death. So this is how we should prepare. It overshadows the happiness of Prema. Even for a yogi, if it is, he is able to overcome the greatest misery, then what for a devotee who is in Prema? This picture of life is earthly Vrindavan is presented by Srinivas Acharya in a song glorifying the six Goswamis. So to take birth in Vrindavan, birth after birth, and be in Prema, which will overshadow all material pain, the Shad Goswami Ashtakam reveals this. He Radhe Vraj Devi Kela Chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kuta, Shri Govardhana Kalpa Pada Patale, Kalindi Vane Kuta, Oshantaviti Sarvato Vrajapure, Kedaye Mahavilvalo, Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo, Shri Jiva Gopalako. Let us imagine this scene for a moment. The Goswamis of Vrindavan are clad in nothing but loincloths and shawls, consisting of nothing but patches, living there in the land of Raj, crying, Hey Radhe, Brajadevike, Chalalite, Hey Nanda Suno Kuta, where are you? Where are you, Radharani? Where are you, Lalita? Where are you, the son of King of Raj? Where are you all? Have you gone to Govardhan or to the banks of Kalindi? They are running there, filling Vrindavan with their cries. Are we willing to live like that in Vrindavan, life after life? Raghunath Das Goswami says, Pratijanu, that is, he is ready to take birth again and again because he has experienced happiness in Vrindavan. Because he has experienced happiness in Vrindavan. We can also experience this happiness. Such is the answer of the first question. So the first question was that if you want to live in Vraj and attain spontaneous love, then Pratijanu means you should be ready to take birth after birth, and live in Vrindavan. Because the happiness what you experience, that completely overshadows even death also, the misery of death. So this is the first answer. Now, the second answer is very, very interesting, and stay tuned. Now, any questions you have up till now before I take the second answer? Any questions up till now? Okay. Now let us, okay, there's one question, Sunita Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. When Raghunath Das Goswami is talking about Vraja, is it Bhaum Vrindavan or Guru Vrindavan?
Oh, very nice question. Raghunath Das Goswami is speaking about Bhaum Vrindavan. And it can mean also the state of consciousness of always being in Vrindavan consciousness. Prabhupada was in America. Prabhupada stayed from 1959 to 1965 in Vrindavan in Radha Damodar. But he went to America, but he did not, leave Vrindavan. He carried Vrindavan in his heart. And he established Vrindavan all over the world. So it is Bhaum Vrindavan, and it is also a state of consciousness of being always conscious of being in Vrindavan. So the devotee, the pure devotees, their heart is in Vrindavan. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 12.8, he says, Mayi eva mana adasva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivashyasi maam eva, ata urdhvam na samshaya. Mayi eva mana adasva. Krishna is saying that, in the mind of the pure devotees, Krishna is there. Mayi buddhim niveshaya. I am there in their intelligence. Their intelligence is only drawn towards only me. Mayi eva mana adasva, mayi buddhim niveshaya. Nivashyasi maam eva. So, in the devotee's mind and intelligence, Krishna is residing, and Krishna is residing within the devotee. So when Krishna is residing within devotee, for that devotee, he is already in the spiritual world. So there is no question of going back to the spiritual world. He is already in Vrindavan consciousness. So it's a matter of consciousness also. I hope it is clear, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay. Now it's interesting. Please hear now the first question answer, Pratijanu is clear. The second and the most important question is answered by Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation of this verse. What is it? Why does Raghunath Das Goswami mention Swarupam, Shri Rupam, Saganam, Iha Tasya Agrajamapi with all their associates? The Sanskrit means Swarup Damodar, Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Tasyagrajam, and all their associates as being persons who should remember clearly with love, whom we should remember. Sorry. Why doesn't he say instead remember Nityananda? Rup and Sanatan discovered Vrindavan. But that was by the mercy of Nityananda. Raghunath Das Goswami received the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by first receiving the mercy of Nityananda. So it's interesting. Raghunath Das Goswami is telling, don't remember Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but the Goswamis. Swarupam, Shri Rupam. It is the 6 Goswamis got mercy from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And ultimately, Raghunath Das Goswami also got mercy from Nityananda Prabhu. You know the Panihati festival. After he attained the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and all the Vaishnavas, then he got the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So, Raghunath Das Goswami is saying not to remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, but Rupa and Sanatan and all their associates. Now, this is a real confidential discussion, which we are going to enter now. But still, I want devotees to guess why Raghunath Das Goswami is not saying remember Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but rather the Goswamis. What is the reason you feel? What is the reason you feel? And this is very important for us to understand. What is the reason you feel? Krishna Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were given the service of revealing Vrindavan Dham by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
But they also revealed the Vrindavan Dham because, they got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu.
Yes, that is true. But just like Guru is a representative of Krishna for us,
Okay.
just a guess.
Yes, it's a good guess. Good guess. I'm happy about it. Jagdishwar Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna. Yes, this may Gopi Bharto Pada Kamalayo Das Dasanudas. This is the mood in which.
So what is your say about it?
That we should not approach. We should approach from the present available
Okay.
devotees to the. This
Okay,
is
got it. So the reason is as deep as an ocean. Kindly hear now. This is as deep as an ocean. Please hear. Why Raghunath Das Goswami is telling not to remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but the Goswamis. By the mercy of Nityananda, he received Mahaprabhu's mercy. By the mercy of Mahaprabhu, he received the mercy of Radha and Krishna. But he does not say Nityananda. He described that we should always clearly remember Swarupam Shri Rupam Saganam Iha Tasyagrajam. It is this difficult question that I will try to answer. So it's a very difficult question, as deep as ocean, and Maharaj is going to answer. We know this famous verse, Shri Rupa's Pranam Mantra. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam. We know that it was Rupa Goswami who is our Sampradaya Acharya, or the Acharya founder of the entire Gaudiya Sampradaya. The Chaitanya Charitamrita begins, Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatara Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. This verse was written by Swarup Damodar Goswami, describes Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit, and Srivas Acharya. However, none of them are mentioned in Raghunath Das Goswami's third verse. On the one hand, these are the 5 tattvas who came to give us love of God. Yet, Raghunath Das Goswami does not tell his mind to remember them. So this has put us in more trouble, right? We know that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, again, in the words of Swarup Damodar, who states the nature of this most confidential, merciful avatar, most merciful avatar. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Nama. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to give prema to everyone, had two missions: to give prema to everyone and to enjoy prema himself. So Swarup Damodar is speaking about the merciful Lord who came to give prema. So we should remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who has come to give prema, but yet Raghunath Das Goswami is telling clearly with love, offer obeisances and remember the Goswamis, Rupa, Sanatana and Swarup Damodar, and not Mahaprabhu, not Nityananda Prabhu. The Panchatattva helped him primarily with the first mission. The Panchatattva helped the Lord in giving prema to everyone. The Panchatattva gave him the opportunity to spread this prema. We know Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit and Srivas Thakur all preach the holy name. But here Raghunath Das Goswami teaches us the inner bhajan, the inner culture of bhajan, the culture of emotions or rag that was taught by Swarupam, Shri Rupam, Asyagrajam. So the inner bhajan or the bhajan of emotions, the culture of Raga Bhakti. If you want Raga Bhakti, that was taught by Rupa, Swarupa and Sanatan. So that is why he is telling us to remember them. Further, there is an explanation. Kindly hear and then I'll take up questions. The most important thing they did was to explain the spiritual experience, allowing us to join the spiritual experience of the great devotees of the past. We want to obtain the same feelings and the same emotions that they did. So what emotions the Goswamis were experiencing? The spontaneous emotions in separation and love between Radha and Krishna. Those spiritual experiences and emotions, they were experiencing in their heart. And this bhajan, Hey Radhe, Hey Vraja ki Devi ki, that is expressing that. That if you want to get, that is the inner culture of Rag, inner bhajan of Raga Bhakti. That they have that wealth and they can give it to you. After all, we want the same love to be burning in our hearts in such a way that nothing else will be burning there. At present, what is burning? There is a soup of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada and Matsarya. Rupa Goswami above all gave a roadmap or guidebook to these feelings, explaining how spiritual emotion can be attained, how one's emotions lead to another, and what causes the emotions in the first place. In one sense, if you see, even in our material life, our life is nothing but emotions. The emotions what we feel, the emotions what we experience. And that is life. Sada tad bhava bhavita. Bhava bhavita. The life of emotions, the spirit, material emotions, what we experience in our material relations. So similarly, there is a emotions, a spiritual emotion, the life of spiritual emotions in bhakti, in Raga Bhakti. So in one sense, our life is what our bhavanas are, our emotions are. So these spiritual emotions, Rupa Goswami gave a roadmap or a guidebook. What? How spiritual emotions can be attained? How one emotion leads to another? And what causes emotions in the first place? Now, which is that guidebook Rupa Goswami gave about all this? Which is that book? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Which is that guidebook? One hand has been raised. Which is that guidebook? Okay, Krishnapad Prabhuji.
Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Prabhuji.
Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Yesterday I was also emphasizing that one should study the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu carefully, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Prabhupada's and then study with the Acharya's commentaries. Now we come to this screen, experience of the realm of spiritual emotion. Sorry, I did not. Realm of spiritual emotion, bhakti ras. So this is the theme, which is a continuation of that answer. This is what Nityananda Prabhu did not do, but not because he had a mission of his own. For instance, in Lochan Das Thakur's song, Akrodha Paramananda, he sings that Nityananda Prabhu goes from house to house, knocking on every door and holding a straw in his mouth, says, "Do you want to buy me? Chant the holy name." Having said this, he then falls in the dust and starts crying and rolling about in it, his hair standing on end. This is what he did. He let people see and feel a spiritual experience, and he gave the main method to attain that experience. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when they saw the Ashta Sattvic Vikars, what Nityananda Prabhu is experiencing, he gave a direct experience. And then he gave the method, how you can attain this experience. So I'll tell you one example, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes in Jaiva Dharma. Jaiva Dharma begins with the Mayavadi Varanasi sannyasi who is residing in Varanasi. He is a sannyasi who had studied all the Shat Darshans. And he's in the renounced order. He has traveled to all the holy places. He's firmly fixed in the renounced order. And he's sitting in his bhajan kutir. And from his bhajan kutir, he sees a Vaishnav sadhu. He is in separation of Krishna and is crying out, "Hey Radhe, hey Krishna," and he's just running. And because this sadhu is in bhava stage, in prema stage, experiencing spiritual emotions, this Mayavadi just has the darshan of the sadhu, and in his heart, he also experiences those emotions. That ecstasy he feels. And suddenly this sannyasi thinks, for the last 40 years, I have been in the renounced order, doing such extreme austerities. I have been studying the darshan of Vedanta Sutra and the Upanishads and the Shad Darshans. But I have never experienced such happiness just by having darshan of one sadhu, Vaishnav sadhu. And he is, because he's a Mayavadi sannyasi, he feels a little reluctant to go and approach this sadhu and inquire what this is experience, And the sannyasi, the Vaishnav sannyasi, he just moves ahead and he loses his sight. And he's regretting, "Oh, I could not meet and ask him what experience I experienced." Then later on, somehow he goes to Navdeep and takes a shelter of a Vaishnava sadhu, and then he becomes a Vaishnava. So Nityananda Prabhu was giving that experience of the Ashta Sattvic Vikars by rolling in the ground. And then he told how to attain this experience. He gave people the holy name. He did not explain what we should feel or how the holy name should work in our hearts. At a certain level, we can just chant the holy name without thinking about anything, without knowing what it stands for, without understanding all the science, without realizing who Krishna is. But sooner or later, we may get lost. We may get lost. Even if we start feeling something, we may not understand what it is or what the next step is. We can get lost in the spiritual experience. For our advancement, we very much depend on how clearly we understand where we are going. Sometimes even in ISKCON, we have various points of view. What are these various points? Let us see. One perspective is that there is no need of much to do to attain Braja. Chant Hare Krishna, there is no need to do anything else. Sometimes, devotees take this kind. We must just dedicate ourselves to the holy name. We must just knock on every door and shout to them, holding a straw in our mouth or a book in our hand. "You rogues, chant the holy name, otherwise you will go to hell." And sometimes we dance ecstatically then get up and go on and knock on a door again. This is a method, and we should have absolute faith in it. But we also need to know the spiritual science so that eventually we come to Raj. Lord Chaitanya infused the holy name with prema, and when we hear the holy name, we feel this love. From the very beginning, our hairs may stand on end or our tears may flow. A good example is when a new product is being released on the market, it is always given away for free. A company I once saw in Sweden had marketers handing out free samples of its new product. People were taking these and some were repeatedly going up for more. In this way, they were given a taste of the new item. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Prema Avatar, came and brought Prema with him and began distributing it for free. Although Prema is free, it is absolutely free only at the beginning. Please mark this. Only at the beginning. So we all have experience. The first 2-3 years in our Krishna consciousness, or the first few months, we feel, just chanting Hare Krishna. Oh, all are sadhus, all are pure devotees. And now I've achieved prema, we feel. So a beginning devotee is very similar to a premi bhakta. So Mahaprabhu gave that prema in the beginning, free, absolutely free. We are all given this small bottle of prema and we are told, drink a little, you will like it. Taste. And we would like it. And then we are told, now you have to shell out and pay the price. What is the price we have to pay now after tasting it a little bit? What is the price? Anyone? What is the price we have to pay? What is the price we have to pay? Yes, Sunita Mataji.
It's a guess, Prabhuji. I'll just try to answer it. We have to go through the tough purificatory process.
Yes, excellent. We have to go through the tough purificatory process of Anartha Nivritti. Now we must work on our anarthas and engage in sadhana. This is very difficult. Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. Okay, everyone knows this, right? Chant and be happy. Now, I am asking all the devotees, most of the devotees are here 10-15 years practicing Krishna consciousness. Please raise your hands. Tell me whether while you're chanting, you're happy. Yes. Sunita Mataji.
We are not happy while chanting because it is said that this is a crying school. We have to cry for Krishna. Then afterwards, we'll be happy when we'll achieve prema.
Yeah. So one new person who came to the temple in Chopati, he had heard this chant and happy picture. And he said, when I went inside, I saw all these brahmacharis and all these devotees in the morning, Mangalarti, after the Mangalarti, they were all sitting. And I could see that, they are not happy by chanting. So chant and be happy. When Prabhupada said, there is a very deep statement Prabhupada is saying, that and stands for Anartha Nivritti. Chant, and after Anartha Nivritti, you will be happy. So you have to go through the Anartha Nivritti. We are battling to focus on the holy name. I'll just finish this paragraph and then we need to continue the discussion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most merciful, Mahavadanya. He gave prema to everyone, and each and every one of us has experienced prema to a little bit. From the very beginning, our path is not on Vaidhi, but on Rag. As I mentioned, there is a little element of Rag, but we are not practicing Raganuga sadhana. He gave us this prema, but at the same time, he sent Rupa Goswami to explain to us the obstacles that we will encounter on this path, because like on any spiritual path, we will be besieged by a dark night. The dark night of the soul is when despair brings us down, when it gets tough, when we are unable to understand what is going on, why this state that we are felt is now gone, where it has gone, and why. Why what we experienced that time, the initial symptoms of prema, why it is gone, where it is gone. To guide us, Rupa Goswami wrote an amazing guide to the spiritual emotions, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, explaining how they should evolve in our hearts. So, why Raghunath Das Goswami is mentioning that we should take shelter of Rupa, Swarupa, and Sanatan, because they in their scriptures have given how we can come to this level of experiencing spiritual emotions, what are the obstacles, and how we can become free from those obstacles and live a life of spiritual emotions. Live in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sagar. So that is why we should worship them. Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu gave us that initial prema where we can take up to the chanting. But if you want to attain spontaneous devotion, then we have to take shelter of the Goswamis. So that is how Maharaj is giving the answer. I hope it is clear. Now, time is up, so I will stop here. The continuation of this we will take up. The next paragraph we will take up in the next class. Any questions or clarifications up to now? I hope the second reason answer is clear, that why we should worship the Goswamis and not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Nityananda Prabhu or the Panchatattva. Any questions, any clarifications up till now? Okay, so we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai, Shri Manu Shiksha ki jai. Hare Krishna.